Thomas, how is your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you undetected.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I, too, am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around?
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. What up, Dirt Donkey in the house tonight? No, that is not some donkey punching sexual reference like Urban Dictionary. I'm talking about Dirt Donkey in the comments. I love it. Welcome to the show. Guys, hit it up in the comments. I got my eyes everywhere. You know, I'm even watching you even when you don't realize it. The blonde is always there. Guys, welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor on Thursday, this Thirsty Thursday. And I'll tell you what I'm thirsty for. That is some sense to be made. Yeah, some sense to be made in this world, guys. Let's just put it this way, okay? In the middle of my existential crisis, which you know very well by now, you know, still processing Charlie Kirk's assassination, just questioning all of it, life, faith, passion, purpose, relationships, like literally all of it. Okay. In the last 24 hours, maybe this was my own doing. This is like self-inflicted pain, but this is why I need to unwind my brain out of this catastrophic fucking pretzel of doom. Because not the temple of doom. That is also, though, that may as well be like my house at this time of the pretzel of doom. Okay. In the last 24 hours, I watched the Tucker Carlson special on free speech, which was fire, by the way. You should totally watch it. The entire near 2-hour sit down of Nick Fuentes on PBD, which is actually like so fascinating. And something else I saw of his that I told you in my last show, not yesterday's, the day before that I actually agreed with him on. That truly broke my brain. I watched an Erica Kirk speech from 2 months ago I'm going to talk to you about in the end here. And also listen to Cardi B talk about piercing basically her asshole, okay? All in 24 hours. I'm like, I am not. Oh, and I am finishing the Bin Laden documentary on Netflix before I embark on the I was just serendipitously watching it while Tucker announced his 9/11 special. So someone hijack my brain and make some sense of things. Please at this point, you know, the 9/11 joke, I think that by this, listen, they did it in The Hangover. So I think by now we're okay, guys. All right. So some sense to be made, just taking all of this wondrous world in. Did you guys see the Emma Watson thing? So Emma Watson, who was Hermione in Harry Potter, was on the Jay Shetty podcast. And she infamously has been very vocal, feministy, talked about trans rights, all this. And she talked about her relationship with J.K. Rowling, who, if you know anything about any, like, you don't have to be a wizard to know, people, that J.K. Rowling has become the witch of, you know, the trans movement, right? And I always just found this, by the way, so hypocritical and gross, because like this is where feminists and people who want to advocate for women's rights just like literally lose their own plot, because J.K. Rowling is arguably one of the most, I mean, she's not even arguably, she's one of the most badass history making women ever. Okay. J.K. Rowling not only became the richest author, richest female author with Harry Potter, obviously everything that's come of it, right? All of it, the theme parks. I'm a Gryffindor, by the way. If not, fuck off. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we are superior. Gryffindor supremacist. I don't care who knows it. No. But all of it, right? The movies, all this. But she is the wealthiest and richest author, period, I believe, in history. Okay, not just for a woman. But not only that, I mean, her rags to riches story. No, I know nobody holds back in this bitch, Dirt Doggy. You know that. Um, her early beginnings, right? She was a domestic abuse survivor, a single mom, was living basically on like welfare and food stamps and all this, and was writing Harry Potter like on napkins at coffee shop. The napkin may have been an embezzlement, but whatever. Do you really care at this point? Honestly, nothing ever makes sense anyway right now. So take the napkin if you will, okay? But again, and then goes on to be the most successful, influential author female of all time. Like, you want to talk about breaking the glass ceiling? Like, what glass ceiling, bitch? Like, what are we even talking about? Not to mention what Harry Potter represents, which is this sort of coalition of misfits who have something magical. That's why it struck such a pulse and is so timeless, because people and kids from all walks of life felt so seen and empowered and special, right? And all their wizardry. So, am I like your sexy Gryffindor? Because if I mean your sexy Gandalf. Oh my god, I'm going Lord of the Rings. That's how unhinged I am right now. Oh my god. Your sexy Dumbledore, I meant to say. Good lord. So, with that, because obviously of her background and her beginnings, she's been very vocal about biological men transitioning into women, monopolizing and frankly cannibalizing women's spaces into a way that is actually literally is just not progressive and is not healthy or normal. And in spaces like shelters, in prisons, like forget the sport. The sports is child's play compared to some of this stuff, arguably, right? And she's just advocated with keeping it acknowledge women. Thank you. Like we've had these waves of feminism. We've had all these movements because women are different and historically have been treated differently than men. But it's like, nope, now we have biological men transitioning as women and shitting on the women. It's like misogyny at its finest. It's like yet again women being told to be a doormat and shut up and just eat shit, right? Which Riley Gaines said really well when she came on my show. We got to get her back on. When she experienced everything in the locker room with Leah Thomas and how and she, you know the story by now, I'm sure. The NCAA championship, she had worked her whole life in competitive swimming, Riley, and tied with Leah. Actually beat her, I believe, by like a fraction of a second, but they gave the trophy to Leah. It was a whole thing. And then the locker room and just how it just wasn't okay. And basically they were told, Riley and all the women were told, basically, like I said, just like eat shit, right? Kick rocks. So basically, J.K. Rowling has been super vocal about all this. And again, it's very much common sense. I haven't seen, I mean, again, I don't know the entire J.K. Rowling encyclopedia of life, but I've followed pretty closely. I haven't seen anything where it has been derogatory towards trans or saying they don't exist. In fact, I think she said, by all means, like if that's how you identify, if that's who you are, like go for it. But can you not step on my gown, which I've said 100%. John Legend. Oh, hey, what's up, John Legend? Yes, interview Riley where you did one. Yes, I interviewed her on my show a couple years ago. It's on my YouTube. You'll have to check it out. It's when I first moved to Nashville. It was right after everything. Well, I mean, obviously that was like 2-3 years ago. So I don't know how soon it was pretty much on the heels of the Leah Thomas thing. It wasn't, I forget how far apart, but either way, yeah, you'll have to check it out for sure. She really opens up about all that. So, but because of this and because of having such a sane thinking way, and you guys know over in the UK too, it is getting gnarly out there. I actually, in Tucker's free speech special, he talked about how there have been 12,000 free speech quote arrests in the UK was it in the last year or in a year's time. And he compares it to Russia, which again, who knows really the numbers that like Putin's putting out, but I think Russia was like a couple thousand and the arrests in the UK were 12,000. Okay. So when you stack them up, if that is true, it is bad over there. They're arresting people for tweets, for praying, like it's gnarly. So with like the 1984 is like looking, super hot out there. And so, yeah, so J.K. Rowling, like it's been really, and it's bothered me too. Like even Daniel Radcliffe, who was Harry Potter himself, like he would be a nobody. J.K. Rowling made him a quadrillionaire, and like he would shit on her, like some of the cast. Like it just became this whole thing. And again, it's like for this, again, nowhere was she ever like trans people shouldn't exist. There'll always be a woman. All this, she said honestly. You know how people have said, like conservatives have said, now I know people are okay with having killed if the president was killed with the Trump assassination or attempt. Like now I know that how they'd feel about me being killed, like meaning how much I identify with Charlie Kirk. And that's kind of how I feel about J.K. Rowling. I'm like, would people like my views don't differ that much from hers. Like it's very much like, yes, like live in your truth, have your rights, have your space, but also like have the wherewithal and the decency to be like, I am a biological man. I'm now transitioning to him. And again, if there were there'd be no transitioning to begin with. Like, what are we even talking about? So, oh my God, like my Bin Laden, the Bin Laden documentary on Netflix, like looks sane compared to this shit. Okay. So it's been a huge controversy for years now with J.K. Rowling. And Emma Watson in the past has said stuff about it, da 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 da. So this is the first time. I lead all this up to say that this is the first time on the Jay Shetty podcast where she says something to the effect of, I still love her. I know what Joe, I think she calls her Joe. I'm like, oh, save me, Joe and I. What she means to me, what she's done for me, how she always treated me in such a lovely manner. And she basically says, I hope that my loved ones and people I love wouldn't not like or love me because of my opinions. Like I would hope despite our differences, they would still love me, right? And it's one of those things where I saw it and I just was like, this is so common sense. Why is this even a news story? Like why is this a news story? And it's just really that just goes to show. It's like, I love somebody I disagree with, news story. Like, what? What is this? And it makes me crazy too, because you see all of these people, which by the way, have you guys seen the turnout at the Turning Point events? They've been like lines around wrapped around the blocks, like hundreds of, it's amazing to see. But people are thankfully continuing these debates outside of Turning Point. One that's caught my eye is this organization called Fearless Debates. If you guys have seen them, and they're MAGA and they do the whole thing with the table and all this, right? This was actually so upsetting, and I shouldn't be surprised considering what we just lived through, but I don't know if my brain in like a coping mechanisms already trying to suppress it from my recent memory. But there's videos of these guys going out on campuses, and it is straight up ratchet. Okay. They will go and they'll have a little table and they'll have a little white poster and it'll say different things like DEI this, let's talk about it, or abortion this, let's talk about it. And they're getting literally chased out of by psychotic, literally mental mobs chase off of the campuses. And it's so animalistic, you would almost think that it's fake. And one of the signs said, Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die. Let's talk about it. And this is, I mean, I know it's not news to you guys, but my brain is like somewhat above water. And there are videos of people ripping down these like screaming, ripping these signs. Like I was like, what is like it is like ratchet. There's one at Tennessee State University where they're like, he's surrounded by this mob and they're I literally wrote on it. I was like, why are they screaming? Like it is. So what's up, Pyramid 7? We're talking about how fucking unhinged everybody is. Surprise, surprise. On campuses still. So, and I know more and more people are starting to say this. And I just, for the sake of my sanity, I just feel like this is something that I have to say out loud. Is that you guys know, I very much take I'll admit, like center right, but very much libertarian in some ways, like some hippie views. Like some people are like, you're an old school, like what like Democrat like was supposed to be, right? Like get off my like don't tread on me and get off, whatever. Now I don't even know what circuits they're in, but I call out both sides. of the aisle. And I have people in my orbit from both sides. And you guys know as well as I that there is this pattern where whenever I say something that is making fun of or challenging the right, it could even be stuff like, around, Jesus and Bible hugging and all, even if it's like all in good fun, if I'm like questioning or joking, which by the way, I'm like becoming more and more reading about all of this. No worries, Pyramid 7. I noticed that they never get mad. They're just like, okay, and move on with their day. Whenever, and I'm talking, this could be like people I know intimately. This could be just people who follow me, right? But I noticed that when I say something that ruffles the feathers of the left, they are the ones who like, and it's always the same. Like they come out you like a little piranha, as Kristen Cavallari would say. Like they come at you like a little badger. And it's always this, like, if it's in person, it's just this antagonistic, nasty, like in your face, like so hostile, or it's this like whole thing in DMs. And it's always this kind of like patronizing, righteous, putting you down, like just again, so angry and bitter. And I've noticed it now time and time and time and time again. And I've really thought about, frankly, how the politicians who have riled this up and continue to, like, shame on you. You guys are literally, I don't even know what to say about you. The Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, which you should read my new Substack, guys. You will love it. The new Substack I did all about gaslighting. It's called Talk to Me Substack. I don't know where you could see that from, but they rile it. They get people so angry. And the media as well, right? And I thought to myself, like, because obviously, I mean, it's plain to see. Like, it's plain to see they're just so angry. And even still, what you're seeing in the aftermath, just actually before hopping on here, I saw a video of Megyn Kelly at the Turning Point event. And this kid is on the microphone and he's so adamant and so insistent, you guys. He's like, well, how do you feel that Trump incited that? Trump got everyone, da, da, da. And she's like, what are you literally talking about? Like, there's no basis in this. What was printed on the bullet? We know he was indoctrinated with left, like with leftist ideology. This trans, this, like, what are you talking about? And he's so insistent that Trump makes it okay to go after leftists, and that's why they retaliate and all this. And it's just, again, it's like common sight, plain to see. Who are the ones getting the bullets? Who are the ones getting the like, it's crazy to me. It's such backwards, and they won't see it. And so all that to say, again, we know all this. We know it's plain to see. But I don't know how we undo it. Again, I've seen the repercussions of it in my own personal life with loved ones. And I'm like, I can't, like, they come after you and then expect you to be the one to be like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just crazy. It doesn't make sense to me. It's crazy logic. And so it's so far down. Again, the fact that kids would be screaming in mobs and ripping up these posters, just literally being like, let's talk. Like, Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die. Like, it's so far gone. It's so far down the rabbit hole. I don't know how we even unwind it at this point. And that's what I'm getting at. And the fact that we're seeing it like in our personal lives with loved ones, like, it is bad news bears. John Legend, they were bullied, but people have to realize when you're going to a leftist spot to talk about those things, the red MAGA hat is a bad idea. We know those hats trigger them. That is so true. It is the hat in and of itself. Did you guys see that Curb Your Enthusiasm scene a couple years ago? And it was all about this. And Larry David, I think Larry David is such a genius, and he did a really good job kind of like making fun of it. And for that, he got so much shit. Like, it's just, but this again is the doing of the politicians, political influence, whatever you want to call it, in the media, because they've literally likened a MAGA hat to a fucking swastika. And that's why. So with all of this intolerance and all this craziness, I also saw today that Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones tried to start YouTube channels, and they were like taken down immediately by YouTube. And it's exciting. It's exciting because all the more reason for these budding Web3 platforms that won't be gatekeepers and police us and tell us what we can or can't see. But just how sad for YouTube. I mean, seriously, like, does anybody like or as the streams on YouTube? I'm like, you fucking losers. No, but seriously, does anyone have faith or belief in any of them anymore? Like, We know at this point full well that the government was pulling strings and had their hands tied. These big tech, Zucks talked about it. Jack Dorsey talked about it with X, how the Biden administration, even the Trump administration at times, pressured them when it came to COVID with the Biden administration, right? Anybody who questioned, like the bat theory, okay, from hell that literally no one believed, or vaccines or all this, we have to deplatform, take them down, censor. And they full well admitted this. So do we honestly care? Like, why are these platforms so insistent on digging their own graves is what I want to know. Like, Halloween came early. I don't even know. John Legend. Okay, but if you want to trigger people, you're not trying to trigger them in an if you want to trigger people, but you're not trying to trigger them in an open debate forum. That's what's so concerning. I think if I'm picking up what you're putting down, that's what's so concerning about this whole environment, because literally there's no provoking even happening. It's literally like, let's talk about it. And these people are acting just like ghetto freaks and like losing their minds, like not ghetto superstar like Maya, let's not forget, but just like uncivilized and crazy. So that, and yes, I definitely do also recommend, besides subscribing to this lovely program, I'm so bad at promoting myself. I feel like the people should just know. They should just, it's telepathic. It's just intuitive. Like, you should just know, you know? But yeah, I mean, the PBD interview with Nick Fuentes, it was fascinating. It was fascinating just to get in his mind. And that's why too, I've been such a sponge. Like, 1 minute I'm watching, you know, Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk's old videos. And then I'm watching like the call her dad, which I'm going to get to the Cardi B call her daddy thing. Okay. Cause again, it's just so fucking crazy that I don't even know where I am. Taking in the PBD, the Nick Fuentes, like just Tucker, like taking in all of it. Even Candace Owens, as hard as it is to becoming, as it's becoming to listen to, because I am with Michael Rappaport on this. Like, she's just, I used to always defend it. And even my boyfriend would be like, he sniffed and saw right through it. He was like, you know, like unlike our FBI is able to do. He was like, she is literally a con artist. Like keeps you at the breadcrumbs, keeps you coming back, and then nothing is ultimately revealed. She's like a mass marketer genius. And the more and more I watch her, the more and more that is. But all that to say, I'm just taking all this in and just really trying to absorb all these new voices and then decide for myself. Like, right now is the time. Right now is the time. So speaking of that, is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's 19-year-old Yale freshman daughter, who has been testifying or giving speeches, I don't even know, at the UN about long COVID. She's wearing an N95 mask. And she herself says, I mean, this is like one of those things I'm going to try to be not savage about this. This is one of those things where it's like almost you would think it's like the Babylon Bee. You would literally see it and be like, no, this can't be, right? So, young woman wearing an N95 and talking about long COVID. Now, she says that she does in fact suffer from long COVID, but her argument isn't that there was too much clamping down and funneling of information and control when it came to COVID, right? Pressuring and mandatory vaccines, masks, 6-foot distancing, this, that, the other, whatever you want to call it, right? But the opposite, that the government has tried to shield and hide away long COVID, and that her generation weren't given the choices. But again, not the choices to question these things, despite, again, our fucking eyes and ears working, that these things they were telling us didn't add up or were not true, right? No, you get the vaccine. You won't get or give COVID. Cut to gets the vaccine and gets and gives COVID. Like, okay. But the opposite, that they didn't enforce it enough. So she is there advocating for mask mandates. Here's a little bit of what she said. She criticized the adults for their relentless beat of, okay, this is why I wanted to bring this story up. Not just because of like that crazy and Lucy. And again, free speech, girl. If you want to be up there and if that's what you want to do, by all means, you do it. Like, I'm not going to stop you in your mom jeans, you know? But she says she criticized the adults for their, quote, relentless beat of back to normal. Claiming, like, this right here is pure, like boomer versus Gen Z energy right here. It is right ass here, right? Like you have someone like boomer or older, they could have like a limb dangling down, a bone coming out, like half of an eye, and they would be like, get your ass to work, Sally. You don't have any excuse today. You got kids to feed and you got the graveyard shift tomorrow, like giving no fucks. This lady is like, they just want to get back to normal and we're not seen or heard. It's so insane. She says they ignored, downplayed, concealed the prevalence of airborne transmission, threat of long COVID. We're told we're the future, but when it comes to the ongoing pandemic, our present is being stolen right in front of our eyes. Young people lack the choice in the matter, in the information. So that is just really something special because, like I said, you had Zuck and Dorsey and all these big tech lords being like, we were bound basically by the government, had our balls on a platter to censor and any information, any dissent about COVID in this girl's office. She's like, we need more. We need mask mandates now. Like she's out there wearing an N95. And by the way, this just goes to show how twisted this whole thing is. Because because I remember that time when the study came out that masks did not prove to be effective. And this is where this whole thing has your brain in mumbo jumbo, because this is what I mean about the media with their control of every freaking narrative. Even trying to get to the bottom of that is literally like gymnastics. I was Google like and even the articles are like, well, the study came out, but it really doesn't prove this. Like they're so hell bent on nope, mask works, vaccine, this. You can't even get to true when researching it yourself. It's so crazy. And even the study, it was Cochrane, I think that it was the study that came out that masks didn't work. Even that, it was like mental Scrabble. They were like, well, it came out that mask, we did find that mask, not that mask, quote, didn't work, but that the enforcing it was inconclusive. Basically just some jibber jabber, essentially saying they didn't work. Like, it's all so crazy. So either way, there's that. So that is just, I don't even know that to me, the pandemic happening there is Gen Z syndrome. Gen Z syndrome of let's not get back to normal. Let's be in participation trophy. Let's all wear the like the mask. I mean, just the whole thing will really make you feel fucking nuts. I love how Biden scolded us for not taking the needle, but he lets anyone over the border. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth, guys? No needle as he claimed. Yeah, no, ain't cartoon completely. Ain't that the literal truth? And by the way, like Kamala Harris throwing Biden under the bus now because she didn't win the election and all this. You guys see this? Like, lady, you didn't win because you're not good and we don't want you as our leader and you can't make sense when you talk. It's not hard. Oh my God. But about the Violet Affleck thing, just a fun little thing, but Meghan McCain spoke out about it and she had a tweet that cracked me up, but it was basically saying like Meghan McCain, you know who she is. And she's like, people are clutching their pearls that I'm coming for her as if I'm not self-aware that I'm a Nepo baby. Of course, I know I'm a Nepo baby. You go to her ex profile in her bio, it's literally like Nepo baby. And she basically says, my parents would never allow me. Like I have no medicinal background, knowledge, education to have me go in front of the UN and talk about this nonsense, like a plea for this kind of crazy, which she has a point. And I always love a self-aware moment. You know that. You know who's not self-aware though? Okay. Are these lunatic women. This kind of gets to what I was talking about earlier, how people have so lost the plot that they literally can't even see reality for what it is. The Advil thing. So, Trump and RFK, they came out and said that they believe there's reason to think that, I'm sorry, not Advil, Tylenol, that taking Tylenol while pregnant can lead to autism in the child. And there have been so many unearthed tweets, reposts of Tylenol tweeting. It was like in 2017 or something. It was like, we do not recommend taking while pregnant. So simulation. I don't know. Jokes on who? Jack Dorsey history, over-the-counter meds. I don't even know. But this is what I mean, where people just are completely off the deep end. I've seen video after video of all these liberal pregnant women taking like handful, like overdoing it, taking all this Tylenol, being like, well, I don't like, this is how much they hate Trump, that they're willing to literally go this far. While you're checking in on your pregnancy at the OB, have them do a psych eval. Because what? They're saying like, oh, I'm not doing, because I actually take my advice from medical professionals, like not people who don't know what they're talking about. You know, you have Jasmine Crockett, I told you guys the other day, being like, this is coming from the same guy who said to inject bleach. Like, that's what he said, Jazz. It's exactly what he said. I actually saw a story on X, and I don't know if this is true, but that there was a woman who went so hard. I didn't even know that you could like overdose on Tylenol. I shouldn't even be laughing. And again, I don't know if this is true, because X is just like a vortex that we can never really know about, that like what is real. But that she, in like indignant and in spite of Trump in this announcement, took so many Tylenol that she was on a ventilator with kidney failure in the ICU and was like gonna die. So yeah, it's just like, if you look up unhinged, psychosis, mentally unwell and unfit, like you will find these women in the dictionary. Like it's they're I don't even know the word for it. It's like you're literally blind. And it kind of brings me to the beginning. Like, I don't even know what will do it at this point. So that to say, taking all of it in, and I do not want to be shielded from anything. And you know what? I asked for this. I made my bed. And so my brain has to deal, and my mental well-being has to deal with the repercussions of taking it all in just to see. So in the same day, that day being today, I watched a speech that Erica Kirk did for women at a Turning Point event 2 months ago. And let me tell you, she is a tough bitch. And I even said in one of my recent episodes that, the Susie Homemaker trad wife, not saying she is, thing that conservatives preach like isn't for me. And I realized like that really is such a stigma and a stereotype of it. Like, some women are the homemaker, and that's again fine. It's not my jive, but like that's fine. But it's so not. It doesn't encapsulate all. It is just a total stereotype, right? And a judgment. But she is just, her whole thing is about women just being so, she said we're legacy builders. She tells the story of Esther, all these, warrior women. And just it's so empowering. And yes, of course, her message, as was Charlie's, was very much like, your career and the title and all that, it'll be there. But like, this is a win. And of course, women have babies later in life and all this, but like this, like building your legacy, your family, your home, raising them, is like what life is about, and is the highest calling, and is so beautiful and empowering. And but even just as being a woman, like she's just so fierce about, like, she tells all the girls there, I was like crying at certain parts, just to stand so firm in what you believe and be unwavering and being bold and basically not taking shit, and just being a force, right? And to not be weak in the way that women like to be strong as women, right? In a way that we are unique to men. And it was so like, it really touched me. It really made me think about all of this and about a lot of things, right? And my legacy and what I'm doing and how I'm building my life. And it was incredible. It was really just about all of it. You guys should watch it, about being just so grounded and rooted in your womanhood and individuality and being so fucking strong. Like, I can't wait to see what she's going to do, right? So I watched that and I'm feeling all like empowered. Like, damn, like, is it making me feel a type of way that I haven't had babies yet? Did you guys see that tweet? Like, this one girl was like, does anyone have the sudden urge to get married and have babies after all this? I'm like, no, it is I am here. Like, I'm attending class, present. So yes, all of that is going on, but also, again, just like the strength in sheer womanhood. And it was delicious. It was so, so good. So then Because again, I want to see the range. And I don't know what covers the polar opposite range of that. And then going to Cardi B on Call Her Daddy. Yes, John Legend, Erica Kirk. Cardi B on Call Her Daddy. And I don't listen to Call Her Daddy, but I was like, Cardi B, she's interesting. I've interviewed her before. Like, it'll be interesting to see what she has to say. I haven't like seen her in the spotlight in a minute. And it was, you guys, this is coming from me. Okay. This is coming from me. You know, the tits out, braid out girl, again, was in Playboy. I'm not hiding any of this. Like, love my sexuality and femininity and all this. Okay. Even for me, I was like, this is like some of the nastiest, raunchiest brain rot. Like, I don't even like sucking dick this, asshole that, blah, 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 to literally talking about basically getting her asshole pierced. I'm not kidding. I'm not the hole, but I think like higher up in the hole in the crack. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, almost this is hurting my brain at this point. And I just have a little bit of OCD. So I kind of had to see it through. I was like, no, I have to finish the hour on double speed though. Thank God. And you know, I had to finish it through, and I did. I was like, I already committed. Right. But so I have to say at the end of all of this, and I know I'm a little bit over time, and I know as usual just was a little bit all over the place. And forgive me for being a little slow and not as punchy. I'm just really absorbing all of this, and there's a lot going on. And for anyone who's pretending like it's business as usual, I'm on to you and you're fucking lying. Okay. We are all struggle city, lost in the sauce right now. But yes, so all that to say, you know, with all right now, guys, it is the time of, and I'm so excited, even in my like morbid despair of questioning and existentialism, that it is the time of in the marketplace of emerging ideas, because I truly believe it. It's like I feel more and more enlightened, and this is going to sound so crazy, but whether it be learning about Nick Fuentes and his come up and his story, be it Erica Kirk and her unwavering and deep rooted beliefs about womanhood, even if it is tied to biblical themes and Jesus and all that. Like, you know, Jesus and all that, no. Or if it's like Cardi B and her ass piercing and like her threesome swinging from, I don't even know. I have no regrets about any of it. I have no regrets. It makes me feel, again, I thought about it with the Cardi B thing. I was like, is there a better use of my time to be enlightened and informed about things? But all that to say, I don't regret any of it, you know, and we are seeing such a clash and confusing time of ideas. But I would say to you, I think it was time all well spent. I may embark tonight and continue on the 9/11 journey. Wish me luck. I know my brain is like already in a KitchenAid blender, like well on its way, but I don't regret any of it. Like, take it all in and then decide for yourself and try to separate, take it or leave it. Take what stays and leave what doesn't, you know, and just don't be batshit crazy like these bitches ODing on Tylenol, if that's even a thing, or these, you know, wildebeest ripping down calls for peace basically on campuses. Like, take it all in and just try to be sane, cool fucking person. It is not that hard, guys. We got this. All right. Thank you for joining tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Thank God it's Friday. Oh, too soon. Tomorrow's Friday. Love you guys. Good night. See you then. Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break?
They might flash you unintentionally.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
messing around?
But how much do you actually understand money, especially the new wave?
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.